Here's a tutorial on how to control your Quad Cortex, the preset and scene changes via MIDI from Pro Tools. And today I'm doing that through the iConnectivity Play Audio 1U and the Mio XM. It ends up coming out for this particular artist. We're using DIN coming out there into this. Now, what we need to set up for this artist is they want presets, they want scenes, and they want the tempo to be controlled from Pro Tools. So first thing to do is go into set up the MIDI on the Quad Cortex, which is this, down to settings, and then you're going to see a menu here, whatever menu this is in. Okay, we need to go to device. Down at the bottom is MIDI, and they want it to be on MIDI channel 1, and they want MIDI clock in. MIDI clock in is called MIDI beat clock in Pro Tools, and what that's doing is sending the Pro Tools tempo information. I want that to come in. That is turned on. Cool, bueno. Check that. Okay, so the way to see that this is happening is that this is green if it's being controlled by the tap tempo here, and it's going to be blue if it's controlled from an outside source, in this case, Pro Tools. So first thing we need to do is set up the tempo information. When I press play here, we see that that's going. This is still green, and that's not 57 BPM, which is what my session is at. All right, so we need to send this out from Pro Tools as a starting point. So I'm going to MIDI, set up MIDI beat clock, which is going to send the tempo information. And you need to pick your lane that you're sending it. This isn't the specific MIDI channel. This isn't MIDI channel 1. This is what is the physical output routing scenario that we're doing. And what we are doing there is for this particular session, for this particular artist, it has been assigned on RTP10. So I am sending MIDI beat clock out RTP10. RTP10 is what's controlling this Quad Cortex. So I hit OK. Now, when I press play, this is blue and significantly slower. Stop is green. Go, blue. Cool. So we have tempo sync, so all of their kind of things will be in time. Next thing that we need to do is I need to set up the songs, which is the presets, and then set up the verse, chorus, etc., which is the scenes, as we know. So first thing we do is I got my blank MIDI track here that says preset, and I got 2 songs that don't obviously exist. First thing that I need to do is pick the routing output, which is going to be here. Remember, we're on RTP10, and that Quad Cortex I said was channel 1. So we are RTP10 channel 1. Now it's the lighter gray. That means that something's happening. This darker gray in Pro Tools is that we are set to no output. So this channel doesn't do anything at the moment. Over here, you have 2 ways to get to the preset changes, which are the program changes. You can either go to here and go to program change, or I prefer to be able to see my clips and create a lane here, and the drop-down lane program change. You're going to add this by going here, just clicking on the song, and I'm going to zoom in and put a little pencil. And you see that I, first of all, did not put it on the downbeat, as you can see in there, and I'll get to that in a second. This message pops up. This just means that Pro Tools doesn't know what it's sending to. It has no idea that it's what the bank information is on the inside of the Quad Cortex. So it's just a heads up that it is not going to show you the proper terminology or anything. So you just hit OK every time. You just hit OK. This is not an error. This is just a heads up. So you hit OK. Then in here, that's why this bank is set to none. Mode is, I can't click on it because it doesn't know what any of this is. What it does know is that it can send a patch, and the patch will be here. And this is, if you're familiar with doing this in Ableton, the patch program changes in Ableton are 1 to 128. The Quad Cortex is 0 to 127 MIDI steps, right? So it's always 0 to 127, or some controllers and DAWs are 1 to 128. Pro Tools matches 0 to 127. So if you've done this in Ableton, you do not have to do that one offset where 0 is 1 and 127 is 128. This is just whatever number is in here, starting from 0, is what comes up to here. So my first song that I need to put in is going to be number 126 is the preset. So that shows up as patch here. So I can either type in here or I can click physically on the button here. Make sure this is not checked. You don't want to be incrementing your patch every several seconds. And controller 0 up here is the bank information. And if you just see this little line there, that means just ignore it. It's not reading any of the information. This dash is very different from 0. 0 is a physical thing. This just says ignore. So I want to define every time what bank I'm in, because if I have 72 songs that are in bank 0 and then one song in bank 1, that's going to wreak havoc as soon as I put that 1 in here if I've left the other ones blank. So as soon as I hit tab right there, hit done, yay, we're on a song, right? So going by here, I have this offset very slightly, eighth note, quarter note, whatever. Just offset it so that when I press play, it gives Pro Tools time to actually trigger this MIDI CC, because if you blow by it, you might just cause weirdness with, I've noticed with the Quad Cortex, it doesn't quite understand what the information is. Maybe it's looking to the next one, maybe it's looking at the previous one. It kind of freaks out a little bit. So I always offset it back by 1. And I'm going to get to something that needs to be resolved with that in a second. So if I click here and zoom in, I promise you that that does say 126. It's very faint, very hard to read in person as well. Very hard to read, you're squinting at it. But that does say 126. 126 is the program change that's on here. Cool, there's the program change. So then I want to create another song. Then I'm going to go over here and you just go to the next song. Same thing, this is going to be bank 5. So controller 0, it's in bank 5. And this one is patch 105. Okay. If I hit tab, that snaps over. Done. All right, so now you'll see that this created a MIDI clip that doesn't start anywhere near this on both of them, right? Because this MIDI clip is created at the bar. So if I click in the middle here where I'm clicking on a random bit of information and I pick a thing and I hit done, see how it creates it from the start of the bar to the end of the bar. So it creates a 1-bar clip. We don't necessarily need it to be 1-bar clip, but that's what it's creating. Now, when you hit play, here's the behavior. When you hit play here, see, I'm on song 2, which is called unsaved because it's not a song, right? But when I press play, this is going to jump back to the song Perfume very briefly, and then it goes away. That is because this reads backwards. So when I press play here, it's going to read the previous signal until it gets the next one. So it's reading the previous program change. Very, very easy way to scare your artist half to death. So what I do all the time is I grab this and just option drag, click on that, hold option, drag it over. You have to be all the way away from it. It has to be a full bar. If I put it here, see, it just moves the note, right? But if I move it all the way away from it, copies it, right? So I'm putting a little safety right before it. So this is 105, this is 105, okay? So when I press play here now, this never goes to Perfume, right? Because it's not reading the song before it. If I go back to here and I press play, this will go to Perfume first. See, because it hasn't hit that yet. And then now we're back on unsaved. Cool, you get the idea. Always just put another program change, whatever is happening right after your song starts, put one right before your song starts, so there should always be 2. That's the safest way to do it. Next thing you want to do is you want to create the A through H scenes, which are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, these first 8 are 7. Now, created a MIDI scene right here. Same thing, pick my output, which is going to be the same. It's going to be RTP10, channel 1, Pro Tools. Very nice to already have highlighted that that's there, but there's no check mark. You'll notice that when I go down there, and now there's a check mark. We know we're there. Okay, you know all this stuff already. Now, what we're doing, Quad Cortex needs controller number 43. Controller 43, you'll see in Pro Tools, does not exist. We have controllers 1, 2, 4, 11, and 64. And then we get this little message that says add or remove controllers. And we need controller 43 to change the scene. So we need to add controller. This archaic thing pops up where it says MIDI scene right here. And in MIDI scene, you can either set it to all tracks, or MIDI scene is the name of the track. Don't get fooled that that's a particularly special thing. If I rename this and this says, you know, blah, 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 blah afterward, right? Then when I go to add controllers, we see that now it's a jumbly mess of a name, right? So we know that we're going to the right channel. Go to controller, and we need to add 43. So click on 43, click add, and it says expression LSB, which is correct, but that's not what we want to call it. We can't change the name of it though. So you're just going to have to remember that that's what that is. Maybe go into the comments here and controller 43 equals scene. Just put it in the comment right there. That way we know what we're doing. Okay, now the easiest way to do this is to just create a whole bunch of MIDI clips, which is Shift Option 3. Let's pretend that I'm creating 8 of them so that we have 0 through 7. What I'm really going to do is I'm just going to go 0, 1, 2, right? Then in my lane here, I'm going to go down here and go to controllers, 43. Okay, I got 43. This way I can click on here. You hover over it, you can drag it up and down, and that little number right in there is telling you what number you're on. But see how clunky that is. See how frustrating that is, right? So this is where we get into the actual MIDI events list, which is the much more elegant, compact way, kind of like the markers for what is all happening on here. So we go to Window, MIDI event list, which is shortcut option equals MIDI event list. MIDI event list is again labeled by track. So we see my completely jumbled name here that matches my completely jumbled name there. And we see that nothing is actually happening. If I go to MIDI preset, which was that channel, we see the bar and the beat starts that are in there, right? And then we see the event, and this first one here, 126, 105. Remember, that's the that is the preset number, and then the 0 and 5. This is the bank name. I was preset 126 bank 0, preset 105 bank 5, right? And it tells you where that starts. So I'm going to go back to MIDI scene, and in here I'm just going to make this random. I'm just dragging up on it, and it's going to be wrong. I'm doing that on all 3 of these, and I'm just dragging them up. You can match this to do the same thing for all 8 of them. And I made them purposely ridiculous down here, right? So that it's very easy to find. Then I'm going to go back up to MIDI event list and see how the event number, see we're in 43, right? Because that's controller 43. We see where that happens. Hey, look, bar and beat, you know? We're seeing controller 43, and then you see the event. So these events need to be 0 through 7. So I'm going to double click on that, say 0, double click on that, and say 1. And you'll see down here that as soon as I click away from that, this is going to jump, right? Boom, that went down to 1. This went to 2. You guys are familiar with this somewhat from Ableton, where sometimes it's better to just type in little blocks of information. Okay, this is my MIDI event list. Now, when I hover over this, we see that that's 0, that's 1, 2, right? Okay, so when I press play, we are on 0, 1, 2, is going to go to 3, which is D, 3. So now what you can do with these is if you name these properly, and Shift Command R will rename. So we're just going to call this scene 1, okay, scene 2, and so on. You can even close that up, and now you can just take this. So I want scene 2. I'm just going to copy that and put it right here so that I want scene 2 to launch, whatever. This is where scene 2 launches. Okay, so now I am in, actually let me put it on the song where we're going to see it change to. So I'm going to go here and we're going to put it right there. Okay, so there's scene 2. So now I'm going to MIDI preset 126 bank 0 scene 2. Okay, we are currently on 4 and unsaved. I press play, boom. See how it switched over like that? Cool. And same thing, the previous scene, when I hit play here, the last scene that happened is actually, this is actually scene 4 right here. So what you, same thing, would want to do is make this happen kind of the opposite of what this is, where you want this to jump late. Put your opening scene right at the start so it jumps to whatever that is. You just do have to be careful of whatever happened at the end of the last song. If you have a kind of delay trail over or something like that. But this MIDI scene will switch to the previous scene. So if I'm over here, even though we're on scene B and I'm trying to go to scene 2, which is scene B, when I press play here, this is going to jump to scene 4 first, because scene 4 is what this clip is back here. But if I take this and I move this to here, now when I press play, see, nothing happens. I can jump over to song 2, press play away from that. If I'm over here and I press play, this goes to 4. Okay, so we're totally the wrong thing. And then I go to song 1, which is Perfume, and I press play. We are now in Perfume. Cool. Hope that tutorial was super duper helpful for you and complete. Sick.